Alright guys, so this is the transmission we're going to be putting in the 95 Mustang. This is a 78 C4 transmission 3-speed. It's out of a V8 car, so it's got the good clutch packs in it. We're going to be rebuilding it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to show of the rebuild process, just because there's so many videos online of it. But we ordered parts. Let's put that into there, and I'm going to show you what it takes to get it in there. So stay tuned. Here's some of the main parts. Obviously we have the transmission over there. It's all torn down, messy over there. All torn down. It's getting a performance automatic pro rebuild kit. Should be up to like 650, 750 horsepower. Then we got a B&M Pro Ratchet Shifter. I want a ratchet shifter just so I don't miss any gears or anything like that. I got a FLEXPLATE down there for the tooth count correct for the transmission bell housing, because they come in some different ones. Then we got this from Performance Automatics. It's their Smart Pack. I was trying to piece all together all the parts I would need for swapping the transmission into a vehicle that obviously never came with it. Alright guys, so in the last clip showed you guys what we're going to be running for a flywheel. This is actually a different one. I ordered the wrong one. This is a Hayes SFI certified. Part number is 40503. That'll fit my application. And then we're going to be using a JAGS Street Strip Ford C4 XHD converter. There's your part number somewhere down there. I'll put the part number in the list. This is a 29 to 3300 stall converter, so I think this will be pretty close for the application. Reasonably priced on JAGS. Alright guys, so everything that comes in this box, we have the block plate for the engine. It's a Ford thing. 12 quarts of the Valvoline, Dexron, Mercron, whatever, however you say it, fluid. 12 quarts of that. I'm not sure how much the trans actually takes. We have the cooler kit, which comes with a decent looking cooler, and then braided AN lines, which is really cool. Down here we got trans mount. You got your dipstick tube, vacuum line to hook up your vacuum, to hook up on the transmission to the engine vacuum, miscellaneous nuts and bolts, our bell housing, dipstick holder. So I think in all is about $340, which is a pretty good deal. You know, you don't have to search for everything, you don't have to piece everything together. So we're putting this on the car, and it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. Alright guys, so first thing I started to do was I pulled the center console out. Obviously we're gonna have a place for our shifter that we bought. This is the shifter without the cover on it. So I pulled the center console out, and then I did weld a plate where the opening was for the manual shifter. Now there's some nuts welded on the other side right there, and then I have a hole for the reverse lights that have to go up to the shifter, and some other stuff that has to go down to the trans, the temperature gauge, stuff like that. So that hole right there is going to line up with that hole, and that's how that's going to go on there. I will have to cut my center console up, don't really care, that's fine with me. Next I just have to figure out my mounting situation here, there to there, because there's a pretty big gap. So I might make some pedal stools, maybe something like that. So alright guys, so I just got this painted. You can see I use truck bed liner sitting right there. It gives a nice textured finish. I got this nice little bracket welded to the body. for those 2 back bolts on the shifter. Now we're gonna let the paint dry. That hole is for the shift cable. That's for the wires that I need to run up to the shifter for my reverse lights and stuff like that. Alright guys, so I got the center console in. As you can see, I just kind of trimmed around where it needed to be. I think it turned out pretty good. You know, the carbon. Really like the carbon fiber look on that. I got that installed. I also got the trans temp gauge from Glow Shift in, so that'll be pretty good to know what the temp of the fluid is. So we're one step closer to starting her up and getting her going. Alright guys, so here's the harness for the transmission. I just pulled it up from underneath. You can see here we have the plug for the reverse lights. This plugs into the T5 trans that was in there. We're going to be hooking this to our shifter because our shifter is going to have the switch to turn the reverse lights on. So we're going to be getting rid of all this other stuff on this harness and just using these 2 wires. We're going to cut the connector off, and then we're going to run it to the shifter in the vehicle. Okay, so I just got the trans built. Used a performance automatic rebuild kit for that. It looks pretty good. Painted it too. Just want to give you guys a good look at it before we put it in there. Some nice billet aluminum on there. Alright guys, so we got the bumper pulled off the car and we just installed the training cooler down there. I got the lines ran around and then they just kind of follow the frame rail up and then kind of go under the engine and by the starter. I still need to cut the ends of them and put fittings on them, but since we don't have the trans in yet, we don't know the exact length. It should be good cooling for it. One thing also though is the cooler came with these fittings, which is the trainee cooler side to 6 AN. Now that would have made the AN line kind of come out and have to turn. So I did buy some 90-degree fittings, so they both point that way, and then it makes it look a lot cleaner, and you don't have to use as much hose. So, all right, guys, so we're under the dash. Obviously, we got 3 pedals. I was thinking about welding the clutch pedal and the brake pedal together. I just make it a little wider for like launching, you know. But I decided to try to take off the clutch pedal. So I think what we're gonna do, there's a nut. Uh-oh, hold on. There's a nut right there. And we're gonna take the pedal off, and then there's the shaft that goes through there and to the other side. So I think we're gonna take the pedal off. Save a little weight that way. Alright guys, so after kind of messing around with it a little bit in the car, trying to get this shaft out, I decided just to pull it out of the car. It's pretty easy. There's a 10 mil up there, bolt, and then 4 13 mils, clip for that, for the booster, brake booster rod, and then a clip up here, clip right there, and a couple wire connections, and then the brake light switch, which kind of chills on there. We're gonna have to put that back on, but we got this all apart. So we got that shaft comes out of there, save a little weight there. The other reason why I wanted to do this was I wanted to make the brake pedal a little bit wider, more like a automatic brake pedal. You know, they're pretty wide. So I'll make this a little wider coming off the left. So I'll probably get a little plate and weld it in, maybe an inch or 2. Just kind of give my foot a little more room over there, so they're not crammed together. Because the gas pedals, you know, about right there. So that's what we're doing next. Alright guys, so I cut the clutch pedal off of the clutch pedal arm. Then I welded it
to the brake pedal. So it makes it a little wider. And I'm just probably gonna grind down those welds and then probably spray a little bed liner on it, give it a little texture. Then we're gonna put it back in the car. Alright guys, so we just got the flywheel installed. And we got the torque converter installed on the trans. So we're gonna roll the trans, which is right there. And I made it up with the engine. So we'll see how easy this is. Alright guys, so we're going in with the trans. One thing is, too, if you're working with jack stands, you're going to have to put the trans on the jack while the jack's under the car, or else the bell housing won't clear your pinch welds and all that stuff. Just a heads up. So we're going to slap her up in there right now. Alright guys, we're under the car, got all the bell housing bolts tight. I got the torque converter lined up and got the nuts for the torque converter all tight. I'll put a torque spec right there. The converter did not come with the nuts, so I had to actually go out and buy them. They're just grade 8. I'm sure they make special nuts, but we're not going to use special nuts. So grade 8 should be good enough. And got them all torqued. Guys, this is the end of part 1. Still got a lot to do. We got to do the cross member, and I figure out a way to mount that since it's probably not going to fit. Shifter cable, get that ran. Training lines, finish those up. A little bit of wiring left, but part 2 will be coming soon enough. So stay tuned and subscribe. Thanks.